Chapter 6. Customer Intelligence. Strategies and decisions are only as good as our customer intelligence, which is only as good as the research that we have done. That research is only as good as 1. How we planned the research. Did we collaborate across and within cross-functional teams to ensure that our study will address the unanswered questions, guesses, and assumptions that we and our teammates have? Did we include questions that work against research best practices? 2. Which methods we chose. Common customer research methods include observational and field studies, in-depth interviews, one participant at a time, focus groups, many participants at a time, diary studies, card sorts, tree tests, moderated or unmoderated usability testing, surveys, voice of the customer data, digging into analytics, and Googling to find other people's research. Did we use the best methods to answer our specific questions versus whatever would be fastest or cheapest? 3. How we recruited. What types of participants we selected, where we found these people, and how many of them completed the study. 4. How the moderator or interviewer conducted the sessions. Did they remain neutral? Were they solution agnostic? Did they use any faces, words, tones of voice, or body language that changed how participants behaved? 5. The quality of our questions. Did we make mistakes like asking people to predict their future behaviors, limiting people's choices to answers we hope to hear, or asking leading or biased questions? 6. How the data is analyzed and synthesized. Did we include enough time for thorough research analysis? Did we take the time to watch or listen to our session recordings? Did we find the correct patterns and themes without missing important patterns and themes? Or did we make mistakes like fitting the data into the themes we hoped to hear? 7. How actionable our research insights and artifacts are. Do staff and teams know what to do next because of solid evidence and suggestions? 8. How well our research insights answered our original questions. If we conducted research but are still left wondering why or other questions, we might not have done our research well. 9. How well we separated flukes from important findings. If only one person said something, is it an insight or an edge case or something else? Research specialists will know what to do in these situations. The more people said this, the truer it is not the case for CX research. Amazing insights can come from a single person who noticed or expressed something others missed. 10. How well we prevented research from being a self-fulfilling prophecy. Teams often embark on research, hoping to validate a concept, prove an idea is good, or support something a stakeholder believes. This research is highly biased and nearly always invalid. End of list. The more expertly all of the above are done, and the more we avoid mistakes, the better and clearer our findings and insights will be. With so many tasks and subtasks in research, it's easier to get research wrong than to get it right. But it is also easy to have confidence, even falsely, that our research is good enough simply because some research occurred. The above list contains some of the differences between research and great CX or UX research. Please do not call poorly planned, executed, or analyzed research user research, customer research, or the like. Perhaps it's market research. If it doesn't meet the standards of being called CX, user, or market research, it might be invalid and shouldn't be a source on which we base strategies or decisions. In a customer-centric organization, everything comes from research. You might currently base nearly everything on surveys and handfuls of customer calls. We might be complacent because it sounds like good research was done. But I challenge you to question if the research various staff and teams have been conducting is good enough, and how can it be 5 stars of excellence? Research is not something that we simply check off a list and declare done. If it's not expertly done to high standards of quality, our findings, insights, decisions, and projects could suffer from inaccuracies. Research fuels our customer intelligence and, in some ways, our business intelligence. Knowledge from research feeds our business strategies, goals, and initiatives, guiding our PSE priorities and direction. We work from what we know, and when we don't know, we work from what we guess. This is where risk and waste creep in. If we have processes that allow or even encourage this risk and waste, especially if we have a culture that does not want people raising red flags or questioning the status quo, then we have a system that continues cycles of risk and waste. A customer-centric transformation should snap us out of this. Research, knowledge, and data around and from target audiences inform and prioritize at all levels. Business strategies and goals, KPIs, OKRs, and initiatives, products, services, experiences, innovations, projects, and experiments. A later chapter on common research mistakes will go more deeply into pitfalls and how to avoid them. Sidebar: beware of the clickbait. The unfortunate likelihood of poor research planning, execution, or analysis has led some people to write articles claiming that research hurts more than it helps. You might also see articles discussing which is more destructive, bad research or no research. Those aren't our only 2 choices, despite how it might sound in articles and videos. As we reach for social media likes, followers, and monetary gain, clickbait is increasingly prevalent. Media titles warn against customer centricity, research design, utilizing specialists or experts, and the importance of PSE strategy. Many of these articles and videos use an inflammatory headline to get your attention, but then prove the point that is opposite to their headline. One article had a title of "User Research is a Waste of Time" and a subtitle about how it'll kill your product and company. The body of the article said that research was important and sometimes vital, but you shouldn't give this research work to newbie designers who aren't educated or experienced in research. The key method in this style of clickbait is often, research is good, but bad research hurts more than it helps. If headlines and subheadlines don't match the points the author makes, it's clickbait. If we stop at the headline and assume that is the author's point, we might miss the true message in the text or video. End of sidebar. 3 collaboration points. There are 3 key phases during CX research studies where researchers should collaborate with the cross-functional team and stakeholders. It would be even better to involve leaders and executives so that everybody has a direct line of sight into our potential and current customers and their experiences. 1. Planning. Before speaking to customers or sending out surveys, research must be properly planned. The planning phase is an excellent time for researchers to check in with teammates and stakeholders to learn their unanswered questions, guesses and assumptions, information that might be outdated, and anything else the group hopes to learn from the research. This can be a meeting, or you can try something asynchronous like sharing a virtual whiteboard and allowing everybody to post notes with their questions, assumptions, what they think they know, and knowledge requests. This is a cousin of a fog exercise where we identify facts, opinions, and guesses. It's a variation of an idea I saw used by Helen Page, P-A-G-E. Researchers decide the best way to work these into the research plan and how to phrase questions to participants. Researchers can also use internal knowledge gaps and desired research outcomes to pick suitable methods and participant profiles. During the planning phase, The researcher should learn what types of documentation teammates and stakeholders prefer to receive at the end of the study. 2. Session observation. The cross-functional team and stakeholders should watch as many research sessions as possible, joining a live video call, watching from the other side of a two-way mirror in a lab setting, or reviewing video or audio recordings. Observers gather first-hand information by directly seeing and hearing participants. Observers joining live can send private messages to the researcher if there is a topic they would like to see probed further. Live and asynchronous observers should also share their notes with researchers who may incorporate these during the research analysis phase. 3. Insights, actionable suggestions, and artifacts. The researcher should debrief with the team about what everybody heard or observed. Since reporting and documentation will include actionable suggestions, the researcher should discuss with the team their suggested PSE strategies or changes based on what research revealed. They should also share their final documentation and artifacts with the cross-functional team and stakeholders. These should be stored online and easily accessible to anyone who would like to learn more about the study, its outputs, researchers, suggestions and advice, and later outcomes related to the study or project. End of list. Generative qualitative research. Generative research generates knowledge and data about people, contexts, and how they interact with systems and other people. We use it to learn more about users, their tasks, behaviors, perceptions, mental models, preferences, decision-making, and habits. We might observe how they perform a task, but the goal of generative research is not to assess the usability of the PSE. It is to learn more about our target audiences and their behaviors. Evaluative research, which will be explained later in this chapter, encompasses the methods used to evaluate our PSE. Generative research might be conducted as part of a project, or it can be unrelated to any particular project or area of our PSE. For example, research into customers' attitudes around pricing is an interesting generative study that is probably unrelated to a single project and would end up touching multiple parts of our PSE. Some people might refer to generative research as exploratory or discovery. Those terms are acceptable, but it's all still generative research. There is more later about how long generative research can take, but it varies. It's an average of 1 to 3 months, and rarely shorter than 1 month, though I have seen it run longer than 3 months. My company spent 4 months on a study for Etsy in 2020 that included observational sessions with 71 participants. Projects that require weeks or months can be agile if we plan for the time good research requires. Common types of generative studies include observational. We watch someone do something live, online and remotely with a shared screen, in person in the environment where people usually perform this task, or in a lab setting. In-depth interviews, IDIs. These are conversations with one individual participant at a time. Diary studies. A diary study asks a participant to track an experience over time as they attempt or accomplish the task steps. They are asked to journal their experience as it happens or at pre-decided times. Imagine you want to learn more about how people shop for a used car. We could interview them, but they might not remember every step they take in order and what could be improved at each step. A diary study might require car shoppers to report whenever they search for cars online, visit the dealership, discuss cars with friends, or perform any step of a car shopping task. While there can be flaws with self-reporting, a diary study can be a more complete picture than we would get from an interview and more feasible than trying to have a researcher observe all of these steps and conversations. Correct number of research participants. For quantitative studies, there are ways to calculate how many participants you need for statistical significance. While some of these calculations are complex, SurveyMonkey offers a simple online calculator. Web link cxcc.to/A138. You need to know your population size, how many people fit into the target audience, what confidence level you want. 99% would be best, but many studies use 95%. And what is your margin of error? Often 5%, but you can go lower. Confidence level represents the probability that your participants represent your intended audience. Assuming a target population of 20,000 people, how many completed survey responses would you need for statistical significance? At 95% confidence and a 5% margin of error, 377 completed responses. At 99% confidence and a 5% margin of error, 645 completed responses. And if you want to be really accurate, at 99% confidence and a 2% margin of error, 9,084 completed responses. Note that the more accurate you want to be, the more of your population you need to survey. The less accurate you don't mind being, the more you allow fewer people to speak for everybody. This is also why recruiting is so important. When fewer people speak for the population, we want to ensure they are the population's best representatives. If you allow the survey to be completed by the first 400 people who click on the link, how are we sure that we have the right demographics, roles, or audience? If we have 20,000 people or more using a feature on our site, and we collect 77 survey responses, this ranges from non-scientific to potentially invalid. What about participants for qualitative research? I've often heard staff and leaders at all levels deciding, before qualitative research was done, that it can't possibly be of any value because we're only talking to a few people. I have also noticed that when product managers, engineers, business analysts, marketers, and other non-CX staff want to speak to a few people, this is deemed valid and worth our time. We should call this double standard what it is when we see it. Qualitative research, such as observational studies, in-depth interviews, and usability testing, requires fewer participants than surveys and other quantitative research. The best practice for generative research is to have 8 to 12 participants per persona or target segment, plus a group of people with various disabilities, conditions, and diagnoses. For example, if you have 4 target segments, your research should include 32 to 48 people, plus your group with accessibility needs. For evaluative research, the best practice is to have at least 5 participants per persona or target segment, plus your group with accessibility needs. You would select new participants in each additional research or testing round. You would not do 3 rounds of evaluative research with the same 5 people, unless you're stuck and cannot find any appropriate subjects outside of those 5. Uncommon, but possible. It is also a requirement that these participants be correctly recruited to ensure that they fit in the persona or segment they represent. This is one reason why CX researchers rarely grab whoever they can find in a coffee shop. If your local coffee drinkers do not match our target audience, they are the wrong people to include in research, even quick research. And speaking to only a few customers wouldn't match qualitative CX research standards for the number of participants and what groups they fall into. Additionally, in both generative and evaluative research, it's often better to include non-customers. They have fresh perspectives and don't yet have workarounds, biases, or PSE familiarity. We should ensure that our qualitative and quantitative researchers are given time, budget, resources, and access to customers and non-customers who fit desired study participant profiles. Task analysis and optimized task flow. Task analysis is done after qualitative research, such as observing and interviewing users. You can't do a great task analysis based on surveys or what we guess about people. Even diary studies can leave out steps or workarounds that the user thinks aren't important to mention. If we had observed these people, we would have noticed these missing puzzle pieces. Task analysis starts with a researcher creating a flow diagram detailing every step they observed participants taking. This is the what. What does our target group do, step by step? The researcher then adds notes to each step indicating the tools, knowledge, and workarounds users employed to accomplish or improve that step. This is the how of each step. For example, the user checked the sticky note they keep at their desk, workaround and tool. They went into photo editing software first, tool. Or they asked a coworker where to find a form, workaround and lack of knowledge. Knowledge gaps, the difference between what we assume people know or understand and what they actually know or understand, are most easily found during observational research. We see people using workarounds, getting stuck, or giving up. As an example, my company observed participants shopping for custom printed items. Some websites asked for a PMS color, which is a number unique to the Pantone system. One woman typed navy blue into the Pantone field. She understood the word color, but didn't understand that the system was looking for a numeric value. This has the potential to lead to dissatisfaction. Her knowledge gap might delay her order if customer support contacts her to clarify the exact color. Her knowledge gap might lead the vendor to guess which shade of navy blue she wants and risk customer dissatisfaction with the printing color. Figure 12. Google search results for Pantone Navy Blue. There are many different Pantone numbers here. Who knows which shade the participant wanted, especially if she is trying to exactly match her company's brand colors? Next to each step of the task, researchers add sticky notes representing issues and concerns, anything that might be an obstacle to this step. These are not issues that our company has internally. For example, in a study with small online sellers, my company found that some people trying to upload photos of their items thought they could drag and drop the photos. The company had never built a drag and drop feature, so this produced confusing and disappointing results. This confusion is an example of an issue or concern that might make this task step inefficient or a negative experience. Additionally, knowing that you can't drag and drop was knowledge that not all participants had. These stories are excellent reminders of things we would not have learned from a survey. Even participants documenting their process for a diary study might have said something like, "Then I upload my pictures." Without seeing how they do that, attempt to do that, or struggle doing that, we lack the true detail of their workflow and experience. Figure 13. Screenshot from the Lush.com website. If I want to solve my dry hair, which products are best for me? A search for dry hair produces everything Lush offers for hair. Results included shampoos, a spa treatment voucher, perfume, hair coloring products, and apparently every shampoo, conditioner, and hair styling product Lush offers. Which is best for dry hair? I will have no idea unless I visit each product and read more. Task analysis and designing for knowledge gaps would consider why people search and why some customers want more from Lush than just moods and scents. Documenting the tools, knowledge, workarounds, issues, concerns, and obstacles gives us 6 new categories where we can find behaviors, themes, preferences, unmet needs, insights, and opportunities. We want to improve the process steps, but we can also improve each step's parameters, details, blockers, and dependencies. Once the current state task analysis document is complete, researchers create an optimized task flow document by looking at where the system can take workload off the user. This allows our researchers to be strategic partners, examining current customer experiences and considering how those can be streamlined, improved, and made easier. Creating the optimized task flow isn't just reducing user steps through automation or making the system perform task steps. It is also intelligently and deliberately architecting our systems to account for what we expect people to reasonably know or remember, build knowledge into the system, deliberately architect and design for moments where people use outside tools or workarounds and where they run into obstacles. This is called knowledge design and is an essential technique for CX architects and designers to learn and utilize. Returning to the project where people shopped for custom printed items, our observational research asked people to start from any website. We gave them a hypothetical budget of $1,000 and said they needed 125 customized water bottles for an event. Many people grabbed a real or smartphone calculator and divided 1,000 by 125. They determined they could spend $8 per item, but were surprised when they were over budget at the end of the task. Only one participant did the math and then realized she didn't actually have $8 per item. She estimated that she had only $6 per item because this type of e-commerce website tends to add setup fees, shipping, and tax later. She was right. Not only did we observe the calculator used as a tool, but we also learned that only one participant had the knowledge necessary to anticipate costs and stay within budget. For the interaction design phase of the project, we added an Enter Your Budget area to the product page. The system would then deduct taxes, shipping, and setup fees and tell you how many of this item you could afford. As you changed color, shipping speed, and other parameters, the number of items you could get for that budget changed. Not only did this solve multiple problems and fix the tool and knowledge dependencies, but we invented something no competitor was doing. We saw 20 competitors during our research, and nobody had a way to enter your budget and see how many you could get. This is innovation. You can start to see how task analysis goes far beyond what we tend to know now from our surveys or A/B tests. Task analysis artifacts can look simple or complex, but ultimately, they are an excellent way to map research insights and set later steps of the project up for success. Visualizing complexities, inefficiencies, and blockers helps us strategically optimize the workflow to remove friction. Figure 14. Screenshot of part of our large, complicated task analysis for the custom printed items project. It looks like a flowchart. Green sticky notes show the steps of the task as users search, browse, and compare items. Orange notes are obstacles and issues faced at certain steps. Purple notes are tools, knowledge, and workarounds. For example, common filters people used to narrow down items require the knowledge of what might get them closer to the best items for their needs. Yellow emergency triangle icons indicate steps where the user might give up or end the task, possibly prematurely. Task Dimensions. Task Dimensions is my working title for a model presented by Larry Marine, M-A-R-I-N-E. These will appear in our task analysis document as parameters related to the task steps. Even if you don't work in CX or UX, anybody can use these terms, and the 4 horsemen of bad CX from an earlier chapter, when they notice customer periphery in PSE or difficulty in user task steps. Manually intensive. Does a task or flow have many steps or a lot of manual work? High cognitive load. Don't make me think, as Steve Krug popularized. People don't want to have to figure things out or make sense of your mess. Did this task step require a lot of thinking or mental processing? Error-prone. Did we observe users, even confident users, making mistakes? It's not enough to give people an error message and hope they solve their problem. It's not enough to give people a tooltip, hope they read it, and hope they get things right. Great CX design keeps people from ever making that mistake in the first place. Knowledge dependent. Is there something we assumed a user knew, understood, or remembered that they didn't? Have you ever gone online to pay a bill requiring your account number? You probably didn't have it memorized and might not have had it handy. Now you must stop what you're doing, find an old bill, and find that account number. The account number is a knowledge dependency. Knowledge design techniques consider the information people are likely to have, know, or remember. Perhaps you could match their account by their phone number or email address, which they will likely know. Task dimensions and the 4 horsemen of bad CX are examples of the friction we try to remove for our target and current customers. Their journeys are full of obstacles and frustrations that make their tasks inefficient and more difficult. Customer centricity means creating friction-free PSE. Sidebar: a friction-filled adventure with Apple. I was trying to publish this book to Apple Books. I don't use Apple devices, and I wasn't sure if I had an Apple account. The Apple site told me that to create an account, I needed to download iTunes. This seemed unnecessary, but it gave me no other choice. After trying to create an account in iTunes, I learned I already had an account for my email address. Did I really need to download iTunes to learn that? iTunes sent me to Apple's I Forgot site, and I reset my password. It then asked me to sign in. I got my password right, but my security questions wrong. Despite feeling confident, I did not know my own dream job or the first name of my high school best friend. When I went through the I Forgot process again, this time to reset my security questions, I landed at a dead end. Figure 15, screenshot of Apple page with an error message but no action I can take next. The web page told me that Apple doesn't have sufficient information to reset my security questions. There was nothing I could do next, no link, no button, no contact us. Finding similar stories in Apple forums, it looked like I needed to call support to resolve this. The support rep was completely unfamiliar with my situation, as if nobody had ever called Apple unable to reset their security questions. I was put on hold multiple times so they could ask their supervisor what to do. Finally, they just transferred me to their supervisor. The supervisor explained that Apple's new login was completely automated. So automated that no human can intervene. Support can't help me reset a password or security questions. They can only tell me to go to the I Forgot website and follow instructions. The supervisor explained that the automated system sees someone who resets their password and their security questions back to back as fraudulent. The system doesn't consider when my last login was, or that forgetting my login details in that amount of time might be normal. Additionally, the error message on the above page doesn't match reality or the knowledge the system has. I can't reset my security questions because I look fraudulent, not because Apple lacks information. The supervisor suggested that I wait 24 hours for the fraud flag to fall off of my account, but she warned that there was a good chance I would not be able to reset my security questions. She said I might not be able to get back into this account, support can't help, and I might need to start a new account. This sucks for me, but I can't imagine someone losing all of their photos, documents, or music because they can't access their Apple account and no support rep can help. If this book isn't for sale on Apple Books, you know that friction won and I gave up. If this is what it's like to log into an account, I don't look forward to what the process must be like to enter a book's metadata, pricing, and images. What if I get locked out of my account again? I don't trust that Apple support will be able to help me. Why bother with something that is manually intensive, high cognitive load, error-prone, full of frustration, confusion, disappointment, and distraction, and makes me feel like I'll never have the knowledge I need to get this done well? End of sidebar. For video lessons on task analysis and knowledge design, see the Delta CX YouTube channel Micro Lessons playlist for videos featuring Larry Marine. Web link cxcc.to/A176. What about jobs to be done, JTBD? Everything that it promises, customer centricity, aligning teams on strategy and direction, remarkable customer outcomes, and more, can also be accomplished through task analysis. Both rely on the quality of your qualitative research. Each produces different artifacts. Some authors and trainers suggest that research is optional for jobs to be done, which companies might love to hear, but this is bad advice. Research and customer intelligence are often a company's most significant weakness, a problem which is not solved by avoiding or minimizing good research. I find that task analysis provides more actionable details that reveal insights and opportunities. You can try both artifact styles, jobs to be done or task analysis, to see which is more meaningful, actionable, and helpful at all levels of your organization. Defining the problems. The problems we plan to solve not only drive PSE initiatives, but should also shape a larger CX strategy. Doesn't problem definition start from strategic initiatives? It can, but if we have customer peripheric strategies, beware the path you're headed down. Circle back and check your business strategies. Were they guided by recent evidence and detailed customer problems? Strategies might need rethinking or iteration based on fresh information. As an example, consider the COVID-19 pandemic. Companies had strategies and initiatives in place when the whole world changed. Some companies cut back and laid people off, but didn't conduct new research on target audiences and their changing needs and perspectives. Fresh evidence and data would have revealed new and changing customer problems, which should have helped companies redefine strategies, goals, and initiatives. Sidebar: Missed opportunity, car shopping during the pandemic. A few months into the 2020 pandemic, a famous American luxury car brand requested a proposal from me and some other researchers. The car brand wanted to understand how their target customers' car shopping needs were changing during the pandemic. We planned a thorough research study to answer open questions quickly and track some participants for months to watch how attitudes and behaviors changed over time. Our proposal was around $140,000. Our research would have to help them sell 20 more cars to break even. The brand responded that they loved the proposal and it was exactly what they wanted, but what could we do for $40,000? We declined the project. Understanding your target audiences and their problems is vital in prosperous times, but it is even more essential during economic downturns and regional catastrophes. End of sidebar. To get everybody on the same page about customers and their needs, we can create problem statements. These are not user stories, use cases, or descriptions of solutions or features. They are solution agnostic. Problem statements should address who, what, where, when, why, and how. They do not include every detail we have about the situation, but are designed to be brief summary statements. Continuing from the story at the beginning of the book, Let's pretend that we conducted proper qualitative research on customers' experiences with Priority Pass. Let's imagine that we now have detailed knowledge around customer struggles when the credit card associated with their Priority Pass account expires. Our problem statement could be, when a customer's credit card expires, Priority Pass closes their account. We create a new account for the new credit card, but the account isn't active until the customer gets a code from support staff. Our system does not automatically update credit card information, nor do we offer a way for the user to update their credit card information. This creates frustration for customers and taxes our customer support teams, who currently walk people through setting up the half-created Priority Pass account. Another problem statement example, for an unrelated issue, is we require potential customers to verify a home address with us. We only accept utility bills, bank statements, and driver's licenses as proof of this address. Many people are not named on utility bills, have no driver's license, live in campers or boats, or are digital nomads. Some people have a post office box or old address on their bank statements or no current bank account. Customer support tries to help these people but is blocked by our policies. We tend to lose these customers as we cannot verify them. Problem statements can be used in our prioritization efforts. What is the most important customer problem that we should solve first? Problem statements can also be used as an internal check for our proposed solution. If our concept does not solve the problem statement, we might be solving the wrong problem, or our work is not yet done. Don't offer a problem statement in a vacuum. Make sure the cross-functional team has insights and artifacts from research, such as maps, journeys, video clips, and user definitions or personas. You can also include evidence-based use cases, each marked as required or nice to have. Sidebar: share all information. There is an immediate power imbalance when only one person or domain has the information the cross-functional team needs. For example, at companies where CX designers are treated as order takers, they often get drips of information on an as-needed basis. Designers might be told to design something that does X and Y. Designs satisfying X and Y are rejected with, "What about Z?" Nobody ever said Z before today. Why not? Is it a priority or a nice to have? Is Z evidence-based or is it a stakeholder request? What is the source of this use case and is it valid? Perhaps Z is an assumption but not necessarily a customer reality. Rejecting designs for missing an unstated use case looks like a power play. Give all teammates all information as that information is known. End of sidebar. Customer Journey Maps, CJMs. Many companies interested in CX are looking for training, templates, and how-tos. They often find customer journey map training that says, "Here's a template, drop in what we think people do based on our existing knowledge and some surveys, and you're done." This common approach leads to mistakes including 1. We have a customer journey map, but is it a good customer journey map? We might have made mistakes including only mapping a portion of the journey, only mapping high-level moments, leaving out actionable detail, or mapping it from our internal awareness to advocacy or define to conclude perspective. 2. What is the source information? Guessing at customers' experiences and perspectives introduces risk. As a best practice, a customer journey map is an artifact of qualitative research. We understand the journey because we observed as much of it as possible, asked clarifying questions, and replaced assumptions with knowledge. 3. Did we map the current and desired future states? Many companies create a customer journey map and then believe that their work is done. Once you map your customers' current tasks, strategic customer centricity specialists must map the desired future state. The current state map is how customers do this now. We work to simplify and improve how the tasks might flow, and then map that as a future state journey that better solves customers' problems. 4. Is it actionable? A great current state customer journey map and its cousin, the future state customer journey map, help us shape business and PSE strategy and direction. If a team makes a customer journey map that ends up in a literal or digital drawer, never to be seen again, then the document has little value. To act on a customer journey map, we must first make sure that our research and data revealed the root causes. If we don't know why something is happening or not happening, we are unlikely to correctly and efficiently invent the solution. End of list. Guessing current or future state journey maps can lead us in the wrong direction. Consider this example I found in an online article about how a customer journey map can help your business. Web link: see xcc.to/A162. Quote, for example, imagine that you are designing a new experience of going through the TSA checkpoint at the airport. Your moments along the top of this user journey map might be pack for trip, travel to airport, arrive at airport, find security line, show ID to TSA, go through security, find gate, arrive at destination. Once you have your top-level journey moments or touch points, use your personas to go step by step and capture what your user is feeling, thinking, and doing at every phase. Through this process, you can begin to map the breadth of problems your user faces to identify the most prominent issues to tackle through design or innovation. End quote. The mistakes being made include: 1. What is the source of this information? The best customer journey maps are made from observational research. The second best customer journey maps will come from interviews or a diary study where people track and report their task steps and experiences over time. The article quoted above simply says that you will detail the steps of the journey by, quote, identifying the moments that a user goes through, end quote. Articles like this are typically unclear about how you should or should not identify moments or steps. If the article suggested or demanded excellent qualitative research planning, execution, and analysis, companies who don't want to invest in research might avoid customer journey mapping. Keeping the research requirements vague gives companies permission to reduce or skip qualitative research. Articles often fail to mention how CX outcomes vary when customer journey maps and other artifacts are based on outdated, poor, or no research. Without good qualitative research analyzed correctly, your customer journey map will successfully document guesses and assumptions and should therefore be seen as a risk, not as a source of truth. 2. Mapping only the top-level moments might miss important task steps. There is much more to going through the TSA checkpoint than finding the security queue, showing your ID, and going through security. Passing through a metal detector or scanner has multiple steps, including removing certain items from baggage and pockets, placing items in bins in very specific ways, removing jackets and shoes, and advising security staff of pacemakers and medical equipment. 3. Starting the customer journey map with packing bags seems correct, but leaves out something important: knowledge of the most current security policies, which might change how you pack your bags. We have seen people at the airport who didn't know they had to remove their shoes, have fewer than 100 milliliters of liquids, or couldn't bring that switchblade on the plane. What do target audiences know or not know about security policies? Do they know good packing tips for getting through security quickly? Have they changed packing habits, or do they prefer to rearrange everything at the security checkpoint? 4. The above quote is incorrect. Personas will not tell us what people think, feel, or do at each step of the journey. Personas are documents that explain our target audience's unmet needs, goals, knowledge, and likely behaviors. They are target customer archetypes. Poor personas focus more on demographics and preferred brands and leave out tasks and behaviors. People commonly look at a persona and imagine what they think, feel, or do. At best, this role-playing adds bias and risk. At worst, this adds false and made-up information to our customer intelligence. 5. Does your customer journey map show branches or paths where groups of customers have variations of a particular step? As a flowchart style of document, task analysis diagrams these variations well. But customer journey maps typically show a single path as if this is what everybody experiences. The journey will vary if the taxi is a no-show, if your suitcase is overweight and costs extra, if your carry-on is deemed too large to be a carry-on, if they caught you with extra bags when the carry-on limit is 1, if security goes through your stuff, if your flight changes, or if your flight is delayed or canceled. Add additional steps if flying internationally, which requires passport and visa checks at the departure and arrival points. If nobody in the airport speaks your language, or if you have a disability, or if you're traveling with a pet, child, or loved one who might need your care and attention. 6. Does the customer journey map show where customers experienced frustration, confusion, disappointment, or inefficiencies? Does it show where they made mistakes or had trouble understanding what to do? A customer journey map imagining most or all steps going well is flawed and unrealistic. Our customer journey map should not be the happy path where everything ends well for the customer. Many customer journey maps tend to show customers starting out happy, bumping into some problems, and then finding what they need. This is oversimplified and often unrealistic. 7. The above quote makes it sound like once you create your current state customer journey map, you will absolutely know what you need to design or innovate to create better customer experiences. If we have not correctly defined the problems, we will not correctly define the solution. Did you map the desired future state, which is what it might look like for this task to go well, if not perfectly, for the user? What if this task were fast, easy, hard to get wrong, never confusing, and didn't waste time or effort? The next step is not brainstorm the solutions. As we'll cover in a later chapter, the next step would be writing problem statements and then prioritizing the issues we want to tackle first. End of list. Customer journey maps are just one tool or document that can put us on the road toward PSE improvements, solutions, and innovations. Flawed or guessed customer journey maps can put us on the road to risk, waste, and customer dissatisfaction. Yes, you can create a customer peripheral customer journey map. Surprisingly, many are. When people hear warnings about poorly made customer journey maps, they naturally ask for a better template. The customer journey map template, layout, or design is not what makes or breaks the document. Lovely templates are a Google search away, but they won't fix garbage in. Sidebar: Quick fix versus slow fix, customer journey maps. If a better template or toolkit doesn't yield a better customer journey map, what can we do to improve our journey mapping approach and documentation? If a better customer journey map is made from better research, the quick fix is utilizing existing qualified researchers or hiring well-qualified researchers as full-time employees, freelancers, or from an outside consultancy. Professional researchers spend years learning, practicing, and improving so that they can do the work correctly and efficiently. The slowest fix is to spend time training people with little or no background in observational research to do the work. We must also consider the risks of poor quality and setting a project up for possible failure when foundational research work is done by people who are not skilled at the various phases and tasks of research. Go with the quick fix. Reduce risk. Bring in qualified people who will get this right the first time and avoid going down the wrong paths. If your company currently bases or intends to base extensive strategic and tactical work on customer journey maps, it is mission critical to have them done well. End of sidebar. Service design and service blueprinting. Imagine a very well-made customer journey map and task analysis flowchart. Bring these together and add elements of where that customer interacts with our company, both the elements they see and experience, as well as behind-the-scenes people, processes, props, and technology they don't directly see. Mapping typically excludes our involvement in the customer journey. Where did our people, tools, tech, and tangible elements interact with potential and current customers? Service blueprints include these as well as how long each step or waiting period typically takes. For example, many people don't buy a car on their first visit to a car dealer. There is the time they take to visit various dealers, the time they take to shop or compare online, and the time they will take to decide which car to buy. There is time between these moments when nothing car-related happens. Understanding time reveals the realities of the journey and where steps are inefficient or longer than they should be. This is where service designers shine. Service blueprints map and detail where our company's people, processes, and props exist and go well or poorly. For example, an Italian mobile phone company has vending machines in various shopping centers. If you have your government ID and a debit or credit card, you can use the machine to get a SIM card, phone number, and open an account with this carrier. A customer journey map might show that a customer chooses this carrier, finds their closest vending machine, and gets a SIM card. A better customer journey map from a researcher who watched someone getting that SIM card would include important observed details, such as the times the customer needed to remove the SIM card from their phone to read a number printed on the SIM card, and the carrier's worker using her earring as a SIM ejection tool. A service blueprint goes beyond the customer journey map to include process moments, both seen and unseen by the customer, such as someone having to fill the vending machine with new SIM cards, figure out how a vending machine would validate someone's identity, ensure that the machine flawlessly reads the most common forms of government IDs, and tie the machine's process to the next steps, cancel the customer's current mobile account, port their number, and transfer existing prepaid credit to the new carrier. Service design requires skills in CX research plus business design, systems thinking, and coaching, which is used to help align people and teams as well as to help them adjust to change. Service designers must be great workshop facilitators since there are steps in the service design process where we need to meet with multiple people to check that we have mapped internal people, processes, and systems correctly. A service designer must also be a highly strategic problem solver to take the current state experience and map out an improved, streamlined future state service blueprint. Service designers research people, contexts, and systems, but often must go beyond that. They might investigate relevant societal or regional elements. They address internal strategic and financial consequences. Service designers should be empowered to pursue and investigate all paths and players. We'll learn more about service design in an upcoming interview. Evaluative qualitative research. Evaluative research evaluates a concept or design that we already have. This might be a work in progress or something that is live and publicly available. It might be our PSE or a competitor's. Evaluative research mitigates risk by keeping the wrong PSE from going out to the public. Through cycles of early testing with our target audiences, we can check for excellent usability and PSE market fit. Evaluative research tells us if our concept or design solves real problems, is a match to users and their contexts, and if there is still room for improvement. Did we solve the original problem well, or do we need to spend more time on this solution before releasing it? Usability testing is the QA of CX and UX. We wouldn't skimp on or exclude QA testing for our code. Why rush out untested product concepts? Usability testing helps us validate, invalidate, and improve concepts. Research and testing help us know what users find high quality and valuable. For digital PSE, engineering shouldn't start coding the design until one or more rounds of evaluative research tell us that the concept and design are 5 stars out of 5 and ready to go. Every time Agile says that we want feedback from users, we want to learn if the product is going in the right direction, or we want to learn if users find value in the features, the answers come from CX research, both generative and evaluative. Qualitative questions are answered by qualitative research. Evaluative research methods include tree tests. The participant sees a hierarchy representing the areas and sub-areas of a website, app, or digital system. We ask target audiences where they expect to find information or perform a task. We can determine if our suggested hierarchy needs improvement based on how quickly and easily participants are able to end up in the right place without making errors or doubling back. Usability testing. Researchers present participants with a prototype, dev build, or live PSE. Participants are given a task to perform, and researchers observe where the current concept or design is easy and efficient to use. Errors, inefficiencies, task dimensions, and the 4 horsemen of bad CX are indications not that the participant is unintelligent or needs more training, but that our design should be considered buggy and has room for improvement. A common flaw in usability tests relates to the quality of the prototype. If this is a digital experience, we cannot realistically test a participant's experience with sketches on paper or a prototype that they cannot move through as naturally as they would on a finished product. These interactively unrealistic prototypes are often called click-through prototypes or models. Click-throughs typically allow a participant to tap or click to move to the next step or another screen, but the user cannot execute normal aspects of their task, such as typing into form fields. Document the risk of testing an unrealistic prototype. Additional risks occur when researchers abandon best research practices and provide guidance to stuck and confused participants on what they should do. Guiding participants makes your test invalid. Sidebar: Stepping stone: Usability testing. Companies reluctant to spend time or money on research can start with some evaluative research, often usability testing. It is relatively fast and inexpensive to run, and when done right, it surfaces bugs in concepts and designs. This allows us to fix these bugs before we waste engineering cycles or unleash buggy PSE on the public. Some usability testing shows that our idea is not a good match for our target audiences. I once observed a study where all participants had a reasonably good time moving through the prototype. We noticed only a few minor changes we should make. But without being asked, 7 of the 8 well-recruited participants volunteered that they would never use a service like this. These people were archetypal members of the target audience and they declared that they did not need this service. Congratulations on having a decent design, but it sounds like the overall concept or feature is not a match for the target audience. This company should have pivoted or questioned some of its strategies, but it didn't, and unfortunately went out of business a few years later. Once we can establish the positive outcomes that usability testing delivers, we can try to get others interested in also trying generative research. If testing can help us fix mistakes while we are designing, consider the mistakes we will never make when we are guided by insights and customer intelligence from generative research. This would save time and money and reduce risk. End of sidebar.